Patrick King's The Art of Everyday Assertiveness is a practical guide to reclaiming your voice, drawing boundaries, and living without the constant weight of guilt or fear of disapproval. Rather than presenting assertiveness as a stiff, unnatural act, King frames it as an everyday skill, something you weave into conversations, decisions, and relationships to create balance. Through sharp storytelling and relatable examples, he illustrates how the inability to assert oneself often grows from old habits of people-pleasing, fear of rejection, or conflict avoidance. The book's message is not about domination or aggression, but about stepping into a space where your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. He begins by identifying the traps many of us fall into. The nice person syndrome, as King describes it, is when you bend over backward to accommodate others, hoping for approval in return. This often leads to resentment, because while you're busy making everyone else comfortable, your own discomfort grows unchecked. He tells stories of clients who constantly said yes to extra work assignments, agreed to social events they didn't want to attend, or let friends vent endlessly without reciprocity. Over time, these people became invisible in their own lives. The cost of passivity, King makes clear, is not peace but self-erasure. From there, he paints assertiveness as the middle path between the extremes of aggression and passivity. Aggressive people bulldoze, passive people disappear, but assertive people speak truth with respect. King draws a vivid metaphor: think of a bridge connecting two shores, you are one shore, the other person is the other. Being assertive means building and maintaining the bridge so both can walk across. If you collapse the bridge with aggression, you destroy connection. If you abandon the bridge through passivity, you lose yourself. Assertiveness, then, is balance. One of King's most memorable stories involves a young woman who dreaded telling her roommate to stop leaving dishes in the sink. Instead of exploding after weeks of frustration, she practiced one of King's techniques: state the facts, describe the impact, and ask for a change. When dishes pile up in the sink, I feel overwhelmed because I can't cook. Can we agree to clean them within a day? This formula, simple but powerful, transformed their relationship. The roommate didn't feel attacked, and the young woman didn't feel silenced. King uses examples like this to show that everyday assertiveness isn't about grand confrontations, it's about dozens of small, daily choices to speak up. He also unpacks the psychological blocks that keep people quiet. Childhood conditioning often plays a role. Maybe you were told to be nice or don't cause trouble. Over time, those messages calcify into habits of self-suppression. King shares the story of a man who grew up with domineering parents and carried that timidity into adulthood, where he constantly deferred to his colleagues and even his romantic partner. The breakthrough came when he realized that being assertive was not a betrayal of his upbringing, but a rewriting of his personal script. Assertiveness, King suggests, is a learned behavior, and anyone can learn it. Throughout the book, King emphasizes that words are only part of the equation. Assertiveness is also embodied. Tone, posture, eye contact, and pacing all influence whether a message lands with strength or hesitation. He tells of a corporate manager who wanted to ask for a raise but always looked down and mumbled during conversations. Simply practicing holding eye contact, sitting tall, and slowing down his speech made him seem more confident, and ultimately helped him secure the raise. Assertiveness is as much about presence as it is about language. King also stresses the importance of saying no. He weaves in anecdotes of people who said yes out of guilt until they were drowning in commitments, then resentful of everyone they were helping. His insight is that every yes to someone else is a no to yourself. The practice of saying no becomes an act of self-respect, not selfishness. One story features a man who kept lending money to a family member until he finally mustered the courage to say, "I can't continue giving you loans, it's affecting my own stability." That no didn't destroy the relationship, it actually improved it, because honesty replaced quiet resentment. Of course, King acknowledges that conflict is inevitable. Assertiveness doesn't eliminate disagreements. It helps you navigate them without losing yourself. He describes an employee who disagreed with her boss about a project. Instead of staying silent or becoming confrontational, she used curiosity. I see it differently, can I share my perspective? That simple reframing opened space for dialogue rather than shutdown. King underlines that conflict is not the enemy, it is avoidance and hostility that cause damage. Assertiveness allows conflict to become collaboration. A recurring theme in King's narrative is guilt, the nagging feeling that standing up for yourself is wrong. He reassures readers that guilt is often misplaced, a leftover echo of conditioning. One poignant story follows a woman who felt guilty turning down her friend's request to babysit because she needed rest. Over time, she reframed guilt as a signal that she was breaking an old habit, not doing harm. By consistently acting despite guilt, she retrained herself to associate assertiveness with strength rather than selfishness. King also equips readers with specific phrases and scripts, which he threads into stories rather than presenting as sterile lists. He shows how to use I statements, how to pause instead of rushing to fill silence, and how to request rather than demand. For example, when a colleague interrupts in meetings, he suggests calmly saying, "I'd like to finish my point, and then I'm eager to hear yours." The balance of respect and firmness makes these phrases powerful. Another key element of King's storytelling is the ripple effect of assertiveness. People who learn to assert themselves at work often find it transforms their personal lives too. One story features a father who learned to set boundaries at the office, then applied the same skills to saying no to his teenager's unreasonable requests. Rather than weakening relationships, his new clarity created mutual respect. Assertiveness, King argues, is contagious. When you model it, others often rise to the same level. King doesn't shy away from discussing setbacks either. Not every attempt at assertiveness goes smoothly. Sometimes people will push back, guilt trip, or lash out. But King frames these moments as tests of resilience rather than failures. A woman who told her domineering mother she couldn't attend every weekly dinner faced immediate backlash. Yet by standing her ground with kindness, she eventually earned her mother's respect. Assertiveness, King shows, is not about controlling others' reactions but about staying aligned with your values. He also emphasizes timing. Not every moment is right for confrontation, and part of assertiveness is choosing when to speak and when to hold back. King shares a story of a couple who argued constantly because they confronted each other in the heat of emotion. Learning to pause, take space, and return to the issue later made their conversations calmer and more productive. Assertiveness doesn't mean blurting out every thought, it means voicing the right thoughts at the right time with intention.